So I mentioned at the top of the program, this is obviously this is a nationwide show. We talk about nationwide news of the day, but I felt like this was important enough to discuss because of the national precedent that it would set, this blueprint, if you will, of what it could mean for any other state who has an establishment, even your own party, right, who has an establishment wing who wants to hijack and take over and remove duly elected officials. Am I being, people sometimes accuse me of being dramatic. Am I being dramatic?
No. Ken Paxton committed a crime. Let's be very clear. He committed the most inexcusable crime. He committed the capital offense crime of actually being effective as a conservative, as the Attorney General, delivering on his campaign promises. Yeah. That makes him a threat to the Biden administration. It makes him a threat to a rhino Republican administration. It makes him a threat to the bureaucracy. It makes him a threat to a lot of people. And so that's the crime he's guilty of. He either is convicted or exonerated based on where you stand on the question of should attorney generals actually be effective in representing the interests of the citizens of their states. So if you are a Republican Attorney General or a wannabe Republican Attorney General in some smaller state where the AG's office could fit around this table, and you, though, think maybe you could use that position as a crusader, what you're seeing today is you better shut up. You better find something else to do. You better take up fly fishing. You better do something else because they are coming after you. Yeah. And the Texas Senate has in its hands, right now, as we're talking, they are deliberating, and they get to decide, do we want an Attorney General who is a functionary of the FBI, or do we want an Attorney General who upholds the rights of the citizens of Texas? Yeah, which, by the way, thank you for pointing out, they are deliberating at this very moment, and we've got like an hour in flux here, so we're just kind of like hoping that the outcome doesn't happen as we're talking, as you're watching this, because that would be a little weird. Brady, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that's the incredibly frustrating thing, especially for a group like Texas Family Project. As you well know, we've worked really hard on bills like Senate Bill 12, a bill that bans these sexually explicit shows in front of children. The Attorney General has been a champion of that sort of legislation. Today, that bill has now been extended. Its blockage has been extended by a U.S. district judge. He's blocked that bill, and instead of fighting for these interests of the people, instead of fighting to protect kids in this state, our Attorney General is fighting to protect himself against a drunken and Democrat-led House that decided they wanted to impeach him.
And not just that, the border, the buoys. We have I guess we have an interim AG fighting it, but sure would be nice to have our guy in there fighting the fight for us.
Who the voters chose. It's amazing to me how often the theme was so consistent in the House pleadings, and they literally said it in their opening, and the theme of the day was, we know better than the voters. The voters were incompetent when they elected this guy. They should have known better. This was all out there. They didn't make the right choice. That's the theme. We know better than voters. And I think voters should be mad. They have the facts here to see that this was a farce. This is ridiculous, regardless of what these senators do. This was a farce. They know it was a farce, and they need to be holding people accountable. And it's just a question of who. It's just a question of who. Who respects the will of the voters who put this Attorney General in office, and who doesn't respect the will of the voters?
If you like that clip, there is plenty more where that came from. Click the link in the description below to subscribe to the News and Why It Matters YouTube channel to watch the full episode.